I'm Chimwemwe Mangazi with Business Time. This is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. Coming up in the program today, we look at the plight of a majority of poor Malawians as rising inflation exerts pressure. Also in the program, inaugural Malawi trade report released exposes slowing trade. We speak with officials. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. In our main story in the program today, headline inflation, the rate at which commodity prices change at a given period in an economy, has been on an upward spiral in recent months. Figures from the National Statistical Office show that inflation inched up in October to 29.1% from 28.7% a month before. What does these figures mean to the Malawians, most of whom are already subjected to abject poverty? I spoke with some from Blantyre to share experience of their agony in the wake of the ever-rising cost of living. This is a typical household deep in the ghettos of Ndirande Township in Blantyre. The people living here may not be aware or comprehend economic concepts such as inflation or indeed the cost of living. But they know this because they live such a life. For Gogo Miriam Tindwa, she cannot afford a 50-kilogram bag of maize to support her family, but they are surviving on piecemeals.
Papa kuti ndifotokozedwe domeko wose mpovuta chifukwa chakudyacho chimapezeka apo mwa apo sindigula thumba la chimanga ama ndigulira mwana koma sili kukwana kufika pakutha kwa mwezi ya malinga mbewu yathu yakali inali yotupa ufa koma yapano nje China hayo mwe ufa watani wata.
We get the small tubes that the retailers repackage the sugar into so that we can at least have breakfast in the morning. To buy bonya is 1,000 kwacha for one bunch. But we need 3 bunches, plus tomatoes and cooking oil. Even 5,000 kwacha is not enough.
And gaire ine nkazi wa masi ya bamba napita kale ndindo khandi zukulu.
Even those that are doing small-scale businesses cannot make enough to support their families, as Elias James puts it.
Mene zinthu zokhala masiku ano sanamiya moyo umaka uvutira kubabe ndimene zinthu zilili ndi business iso sikuyenda kwenikweni kuti zovuta zimapezeka kwambiri bwana zimaka zovutirako zimaka zomakwanira muno wino angasenga customer labwere timuze mtengo saumatha kufikira muhera ndeti mangupanga basi mongothanzana kuti asabwerere.
Life is tough because businesses are customers are cutting on expenses, and therefore when we charge, they negotiate to a point where we are not making enough.
But how can Malawi break out of such cycles, ensure that prices are stable and reduce the inflation rate? A question for economist Marvin Banda.
Apart from requiring to be millionaires in order to navigate this very difficult time, you notice that there are certain things that the actors of the economy can do. So when you speak about the actors of the economy, we're speaking about the private sector, the public sector, and the consumers who are in between that. So for the private sector, what we need to do is we need to increase productivity in the short run. In order for us to minimize the effects of the cost of living, we need to prepare for the next year, which means that people should get access to food or to food inputs early so that they're able to cultivate and take advantage of the climate changes. When we look at the public side, we're in a situation where the cost of living is unbearable for many vulnerable Malawians, which are estimated to be 4 million. So what this requires is, for the time being, an effort to cushion these people. However, these cushioning efforts should not be those that are going to be derived in perpetuity, but those that are only meant to serve this this period. When it comes to consumers, especially those who are also micro producers of food stock, we need to take advantage of the early harvest that we're going to be able to have next year, to keep it and not to squander it, and to be able to then bolster it with other productive means, because the state of the economy requires a diversification of income, not only for the economy at large, but also for the micro consumer of the economy.
When all is said and done, there is need for the government to implement cushioning measures by ensuring stable prices and reduce the inflation rate to improve the people's livelihoods. The first ever Malawi trade report has been unveiled, exposing declining trade in 2024 by 7.1%, despite growth of exports of services by 9%. The report has been done by Export Development Fund and the University of Malawi's Department of Economics, estimating exports at $958.5 billion, while importing $3.31 billion, leaving a deficit of $2.36 billion. Minister of Industrialization, Business, Trade and Tourism, George Partridge, expressed worry at the launch that so many policy instruments that can drive production and export are left idle and need to be operationalized, while ensuring that duty bearers become more result-oriented in facilitating productivity of the private sector.
I think some of the pointers have been are in the report, and there are 4 of them. I will not enumerate all of them, but there are other things that are on the ground that are not being fully utilized. For example, the acts that the PS was saying they were enacted in 2024. I think these were policy directions, but what remains is now to implement them. And the problem is that we are not implementing them, and this is why the trade deficit continues to deteriorate. We are losing a lot of dollars, and I think this is where the report is important, because it mentions specific things that we should be doing. I will not have a laundry list of what things that we should be doing. I think maybe I'll be preempting what is in the report, but I think you can look in the report on the pages where it says the way forward. Those are some of the things. I think if I start enumerating them one by one, it will take the whole day enumerating them.
FDH Financial Holdings Chief Executive Officer William Pinganjila challenged the financial sector to reduce financing government and channel more resources towards productive sectors. He, however, said structuring markets is vital to de-risk financing of productive sectors.
I think from the financial sector, the report is quite informative because it shows us the growth areas that Malawi has potential in, and especially on the export side, which is very critical, obviously, for us in the financial sector as well, because financing, if we want to become more sustainable, we need to finance areas where that lead to more exports, and by respect then we get the dollars, the rands and whatever other currency, and we're able to sell it to our customers. So that tells us which areas, which industries to focus on in terms of financing. Yeah, I think in terms of liquidity in the market, when I look at financial services, the financial services sector is quite liquid. Where we have the challenge is that the financing was focused more on government than private sector. So that's where the challenge is. So a report like this one now shows the financial sector where we can focus in the private sector, because it also leads to tangible results that will bring about sustainable growth for us as financial services, but also for Malawi as a whole.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news making headlines. Small and medium enterprises are the backbone of most economies, representing around 90% of all businesses and accounting for more than half of global employment. When they grow, SMEs become big corporates and contribute even bigger to the economy. But in Malawi, most SMEs have failed to grow, with most of them dying as SMEs. But what could be the problem? Our reporter Taonga Sabola engages Secretary for Industrialization, Business, Trade and Tourism, Whiskes Nkombezi, to find out why most of Malawi's SMEs fail to grow.
Look at the figures, you will see that there are a couple of them that have grown, but we know from studies here in Malawi and elsewhere that the mortality rate of small and medium enterprises is a little bit higher as compared to the large enterprises. This goes back to the issue of the support system. Previously, we never used to have, for instance, SME desks in banks. Right now, we have SME desks in banks and a lot of financial institutions. We never used to have regulated cooperatives that were regulated by the central bank. These are financial cooperatives, namely savings and credit cooperatives. So you will see that slowly government and its partners have come to realize the importance of SMEs and now are ramping up support for this sector. And as such, you see the kind of innovative products that are now coming on the market. We will also see that we never used to have entrepreneurship education in Malawi. Right now, if you go into various schools at all levels, colleges, schools, technical colleges, you will see that entrepreneurship is a core subject. And so the idea is to teach people that you don't need to be employed all the time. You can also be an employer by engaging in business, by engaging in entrepreneurship. So I think the support for this sector keeps on growing, and I hope other partners will join us, government, join banks, NGOs and others to support small and medium enterprises to make sure they grow. And we also have a wide base of categories of SMEs in this country, because you saw a lot of them in the manufacturing sector, but we also have that strategy, the ATM strategy. We want more and more in the mining sector, in tourism, in virtually all sectors, be it housing, the service sector, and particularly the digital and information technology sector. We want as many people in there as possible. You know, the world is changing and is going towards this digital transformation. We want more entrepreneurs in that sector. So we think the sector is growing, and we think even support for the sector is also growing.
In other business news, Nico Holdings Limited has rolled out a management trainee program that will see 33 young university graduates undergo intensive on-the-job and leadership training. Through this long-term succession and talent development strategy, the group aims at grooming its future leaders. Benedetta Chuandamia has the whole story.
Speaking at an event marking the launch of the program in Blantyre, Nico Group Managing Director Vizenge Kumwenda said the initiative will build a strong leadership pipeline that will enable the company to fill future senior roles from within the organization. Kumwenda emphasized that nurturing internal talent is central to Nico's vision of becoming a global player.
So this is a management training program, management trainee program for the Nico Group, where we will taken in 33 young men and women to undergo, and these young men and women with top-class degrees in various disciplines. So they will undergo on-the-job training, as well as leadership training in classes, in class sessions, but also there will be mentors mentoring them. The idea is that at the end of 24 months, they will have been attached to various departments within the various companies, and after 24 months they will be placed in supervisory grades as the beginning of their career in the group. And the expectation is that they will progress through the ranks to top positions in the group, either CEOs, CFOs, Chief Operating Officers, various managers. Yes, so this is our way of creating a leadership pipeline. Our ultimate goal is that all our leaders, or the majority of our leaders, should grow within the group instead of having to go to the market, so that we train them technically, but as well as leadership training, so that by the time they take on leadership positions, they know the NICO culture, the NICO values of excellence, collaboration, integrity, and so on and so forth. No, it is very, very important, because you see the group is growing and will continue growing. And the group, at the end of the day, we want the group to be a global player. And for us to be a global player, we need global leaders. For Malawi, and in the process also, Malawi must be a global player. And for that to happen, we need to get the best into the system, but also give them the opportunity to be trained. And also, besides being trained locally, they should be trained at where they meet the best out there. So in the process, you grow their confidence. They realize that actually they are just as good as anybody else, on the global market. It's very, very important. It's important for the group. It's important for the country.
One of the trainees, Timothy Ringa, graduated with a distinction in 2023 with a Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of Malawi. He described the program as a priceless opportunity to unlock his leadership potential and build a solid career foundation within the financial services sector.
This training program is very important to me because, to succeed in the environment, you have to be paired with people who have the potential, who have the experience, so that they should see into the skills that you have and then tap into your own potential and bring out the world and make you an experienced professional just like them. So this training program is a leadership journey for me, and I believe that it will unravel those skills that I thought I didn't have and then bring me to be an industry leader in financial services. Right, so I graduated far back in 2023, and I hold a Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of Malawi. And I've had a journey through several companies before applying for NICO. And at first I was skeptical when I was applying. I was like, this is a big group, and my chances maybe of joining might be low. But then with academic excellence, of having a distinction, I still had hope, and I was selected for the interview. So I did my thorough preparation, and look at me now. That's where I am. On the career side, where you start is not where you end. So there are many possibilities and places that NICO Group will take me. And I believe that it will be useful in many departments. And of course, I'm starting in the Human Resources Department. But then I believe that being multi-talented in this volatile environment is very important, so that I should succeed and stay relevant in the market. So that is my plan, and that's how I see the future.
NICO is a financial services group of company with subsidiaries across the financial services sector, including insurance, technology, and banking.
Well, with that item, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time here on Times Television. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.